It is amazing to have you here with us in London. The first and I guess the most obvious question, can you talk to us about how the handsome man in front of us is transformed into one of our favourite comic book characters?
Well, yeah, of course. It's a legendary thing called CGI. So, well, it's a huge and tough process, but it's something that I'm doing from, bottom of my heart because I'm a comic book geek and fan. So I like to say that getting the role of Colossus is an Academy Award for my inner child. So for me, I'm so happy that I have this chance and this opportunity, especially because I'm Slavic. So there are not so many superheroes from that part of the world, except like maybe one more villain as a Kraven the Hunter. So yeah, regarding the process, well, I mainly for the first part, I was doing the facial expressions and of course the voice, which Tim Miller found that's the perfect for his own vision of Colossus. So I finished the Academy of Dramatic Arts in Serbia, so I'm not used to like doing all these things, especially the ADR, which is not like normal regular ADR. It's much more than that. So I had like to go through all the scenes, and thank God I had the chance, and I'm having a chance to work with Ryan Reynolds, who is such an amazing actor, such an amazing colleague, and a huge help for everybody on the set, and especially for me in this case, because his ideas, his improvisations, and everything else are so amazing. And I'm like really thankful that I have this opportunity.
Has there been any like comedic moments on set with Ryan Reynolds? Because you said he's like, his improv is funny. Has he tried to make you laugh a couple of times?
Yeah, he makes everybody laugh because, as I said, he's great in improvisations. So lots of the lines that you hear in the movie are made just on the set, just from like the moment that he felt it. So it was a cool thing and a funny thing when we were doing the first part. It was when I was having that Colossus puke, if you remember. Yeah, so it was funny because the director, Tim Miller, he has this kind of empathy. He doesn't like to listen to people puking, he just has the same urge then. So he was like leaving the set just because he couldn't like listen to those. So even like if I want to like do something that without him just to try, I would go with like, so he just goes away and then I tried to do it and it was funny, but like mainly the funny things from the movie are in the movie. So because it's really like laughing all the way through the process.
I think one of those funny moments from the first film was when Wade is, I guess, having a rather intimate feel of Colossus. Was Ryan Reynolds a considerate and gentle ball fondler?
Well, yeah, how can I answer that? Right? It's really it's a Colossus Deadpool relationship, especially with all the this is just full. Okay, yeah.
Excellent. Saved by the tech.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously, given the astonishing success and amazing fan reaction to the first film, it creates such a huge expectation for the new film. Can you talk a little bit about how that feels and how you think the film's going to live up to all of that?
I think that the waiting, every second is worth waiting because we bring something totally new. And, you're used to like people talking about the next one was going to be, but this one is going to be like totally different in a positive way. We have a new director, David Leitch, who's an amazing director, and I love his movies, especially Atomic Blonde and John Wick. So he brought his own stamp, and you can never compare directors. Tim Miller was amazing in his own way. David is amazing in the other way. And we have addition to the cast with Josh Brolin, who is a perfect Cable, and we have Zazie Beetz as Domino. So we have like two more amazing characters, like Rob Liefeld's creations. And I'm thankful that Rob did all these amazing things, especially like connected to Deadpool. So this is like definitely like a new level with Deadpool. So if you go in that genre kind of thing, you can expect that, Deadpool thing is just, it's growing, and that's why we're going to have something that will be a great sequel. Because nowadays sequels are, never equal. So this one is going to be a new step in this way. So
Yeah, I guess the first one kind of felt like it was going to be a bit of a gamble, doing a kind of hard R.
And it was a gamble because Deadpool is not like a Superman, Batman kind of a character, Spider-Man, so you can expect. And, it was 10 years of Ryan Reynolds trying to get this movie done. So nobody expected this kind of a success to become like the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. And, this hype about it, because with Deadpool, you cannot expect anything. So that's why the sequel is going to be amazing, because whatever happens, and I know it's going to be a great movie, but nobody can be disappointed because it's Deadpool. So he can juggle with like all the things together. So it's a beautiful, how to say that? It's a beautiful way that we have like almost like a Deadpool genre, by itself. So all the movies are trying to copy it or to be on the same page. They will never do it because that's a unique character, and that's why we have Ryan as a best Deadpool. I don't think that there is an actor that can do the same thing as Ryan did. That's like a perfect match. I never saw like casting this good. There is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, as Logan, but still, for me, Ryan Reynolds is like the best Deadpool that can be.
Saying that.
Yeah.
Sorry, is there any Colossus storylines you'd like to see done in the future?
I would love, especially now, because we have his sister, Magique, played by Anna Taylor-Joy in New Mutants, and I think that's the same timeline as Deadpool Colossus timeline. So I'm hoping that you will see, brother and sister finally on the big screen, which would be perfect. So that's one of the things that I would love to see.
So, Stefan, Deadpool is such a different movie, obviously, compared to all Iron Man and things like that. While you were making it, did you feel like you were creating something special? Did you know if this is going to be
Well, for me as a comic book geek, I felt from the first moment that I got the role, this is something extremely special. But when I met Tim Miller, who is a visionary guy, and he's so talented and he's so into comic books, so when you sit with him and when you start talking about the character and working on that, you can feel that this is not usual thing that I'm used to. I did so many movies and TV shows and theater performances, but I never had opportunity like this. Plus, it's a comic book movie, which gives you some other thing, some other space that you are in, and I still cannot believe that this is happening to me, and seeing you guys right now here, and I did beautiful things in my life, but all of this is incredible. It's unbelievable.
Do you think that the film in Deadpool, because it's so different, has impacted other films of the same genre going forwards, that they might be slightly more R-rated and challenging?
What do you exactly mean?
Just this opens up possibilities to other film directors.
Do you think it's kind of had an effect on other films that are being made?
Well, that's a good question, but as I said, I don't like people to copy it, or if you think that was your first thing, and that's the way you should go. Because Tim Miller and Ryan in this movie in Fox, they didn't think about consequences or whatever. So that's Deadpool. Same thing with Logan. Logan wasn't the copy. It's something that was, made like that. So I absolutely think that people, if they want to do an R-rated movie, they should do it. Of course, not thinking about PG box office things. Just need to be honest to the thing that you're making, and don't think about box office things or things that will just make the project maybe more vulnerable or limited, definitely, yeah.
Sorry. Can I just say it's really nice to see sort of variety in casting, because we get loads of Americans, we get loads of British people in blockbuster films, so it's really nice to see sort of more Europeans and not just always being, a Bond villain.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm finished myself, so I kind of know, IKEA advert, kind of thing. But what do you think? How did you manage to get into their attention and to go, this guy is going to be our Colossus?
Well, thanks to Tim Miller, first of all, because he didn't want, people to imitate the accent, or he wanted to be original in that thing because before there was like a Colossus character in one of the X-Men movies, but like really short and little, not so many scenes, but he had like an American accent or something like that. So in this case, he wanted to be as honest to the comic book and to like even like to the cartoon that was in the 90s or so, where Pyotr Nikolaevich Rasputin or Colossus had a Russian accent, which that's something that we should, still keep, as you have like a German, the Nightcrawler is German, just to keep it real to the comic book. And that's why he chose me, and he loved my self-tapes, and I'm so grateful and thankful that happened. But, I totally understand your point, but it's moving because people want, nowadays, not like people to imitate. They just want original people.
Yeah.
Obviously, for comic fans, the prospect of seeing some of the new characters, particularly Cable and Domino on screen, is really exciting. For perhaps people who aren't as familiar with the original comics, can you tell us a bit about what we can expect from both of those characters and what you think makes Josh and Zazie such a good fit?
Well, first of all, they're amazing actors. And on the other side, if people are not... Well, X-Force was made like a brutal X-Men squad. They're like doing like special forces, R-rated things. So I think Deadpool is kind of logical next step is to get involved with Rob Liefeld's creations, where he made all of them. So I think that was like some few questions regarding in the comic book. Cable is like extremely big, extremely huge. So we can like you cannot find like that kind of an actor, right nowadays. But Josh Brolin brings everything with his acting on the set, and he brings with his face. He's exactly the Cable I was when I was reading the comic book. I would love to see somebody like him on the screen. And plus, you have Zazie Beetz. She's capable of doing like amazing action scenes. She's funny. She's a beautiful actress. So I think that Fox made a beautiful call in casting. So that's one of the reasons that X-Force as something that's going to happen in next year is going to have like a franchise their own. There's going to be like an R-rated X-Men kind of thing. And I think that people are going to love it and geek out.
I think with Zazie, obviously, there was a bit of a debate amongst the fan community about the changes in the aesthetic of Domino. And I think, again...
I really don't understand those things. And Zazie is a perfect Domino. Like, well, people will see, those changes or whatever, if director thinks that. And definitely in this case, it's a perfect choice. So I just don't get into like those things. Like, fan can love your fans can hate you, but like those reasons are for me. I just don't understand that.
What, as being a massive Marvel fan and playing Colossus, which Marvel character or controversially DC character would you like to film with? Who would you like to be?
Oh, I would love to work with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. But unfortunately, I don't think that he's going to repeat his roles, unfortunately. But no, I would love to, possibly work with Tom Hardy as Venom. He just started filming that, and I love that guy. That guy's an amazing actor. But generally come back to the X-Men family. Now with all those timelines coming back together, we have New Mutants coming out in April, and that's the same timeline as Deadpool. And then we have X-Men at the end of the year, which is not the same, I think. It's like 90s, and this is like right now happening. But it's coming closer, so we'll see what's going to happen, In
another comic book question, what are you currently reading at the moment as a comic book geek? Because you probably have some time to like pick up a book or two. Is there anything that
yes, right now, and I was just like talking with a friend of mine, Dalibor Talaic. He did Deadpool kills Marvel Universe. Yeah, he kills Colossus. Yeah, but that's amazing. That's I really recommend that one. It's a beautiful one.
When you're making a film, especially when so much of it's improv, you don't necessarily see the bigger picture. So when you see the final film for the first time, are you geeking out as much as everyone else?
Absolutely. Maybe even more. When I saw my creation, first time in New York from the premiere of Deadpool, I couldn't believe. So I had like to go to 2 more times. The next day I went like to see like 2 times in a row. So, and I'm still, when I see it like on HBO or, seeing all those commercials, whatever is coming out. I'm geeking out all the way, and I cannot wait for the sequel to come out. It's going to be so good, but unfortunately,
every time you went to see it, did you feel like nudging the person next to you and going, "I'm Colossus"?
Well, everybody knew it, like at that moment, so yeah.
I think one of the things that was very sweet in the first film was the relationship between Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Is that something that we're going to see continue in the franchise as it goes along, that dynamic?
Oh dear.
Yeah. Well, there are like some things that you just want to say, but you just can't.
It's like,
Speaking of the past and not the future, do you have some more memories of working on The Brothers Bloom with Ryan
my
Johnson?
God.
And did you foresee him becoming a Star Wars director back then?
Ryan Johnson is an amazing director, and that was my first kind of cameo appearance in anything that wasn't like from ex-Yugoslavia part of the world. So, and I had like Adrian Brody, Rachel Weisz, Maximilian Schell, Mark Ruffalo. So it was really, that's a blast from the past what you just did, especially now with Ryan Johnson working on Star Wars. I was thinking I know where he lived, but I haven't seen him in a long time. I was like, maybe just like Stormtrooper kind of thing. Remember me? So yeah, but his career is amazing and he deserves it. He's really a great guy, great director, and everything that's going his way is absolutely deserved. But wow, thank you.
The one thing that a lot of people have in their mind, because it's touching on the whole domino debate once more. Don't you find that with fans, they kind of have an idea of the character, and then you have when scripts like comic books are adapted to film, you saw, like for instance with X-Men, you saw like two variations of Colossus, the character you played in Deadpool and the one that was played in the X-Men movie. Do you feel that sometimes a character has to be naturally the essence of the character, like the way you played him was more in line with the comics and in line with the cartoon series, and in the X-Men movies he wasn't really played to that specific? Do you feel that a character needs to be organic, or do you feel that they can change anything they want as long as it has some essence of what the character was presented before?
Well, that's a tough question because it depends on the vision. I'm a comic book geek, so you understand, my answer, because of course that I want to see exactly how it was in a comic book. But from my actor perspective and creative perspective, I totally understand the visions, and the result is how it works on the big screen in the end. So after that, people can judge, even if I don't think that they would. That's the vision of one director, and that's the way he's doing it. You had, like, as you said, two choices of Colossus. That Colossus didn't work. This Colossus works a lot. So it just depends, this was a good choice. It happened. But don't judge, before you see the result and why something was like that. After that, it's out. It's everybody can see it. Everybody can judge it. For example, like Blade Runner is for me like a really good movie. It's a great movie. People hate it on the other side. I don't understand why, because it's a vision. It's something different. It's it's a choice. It's a statement, and I just love people working on comic books and making these things happen. And just don't stop doing that.
Do you think we'll see an interconnected X-Men universe, like with all the movies coming into one, like with the Marvel movies?
I hope so. I hope so that one moment, like the whole Marvel universe will connect, so we can all go against Thanos or something like that. Because I understand all those franchise or studio politics that can be understood, but on the other side, I would love to see Avengers and X-Men together, and in the future. You never know.
I mean, we are kind of in the middle of a golden age of comic book movies. Do you think we're kind of approaching a saturation point on that now? Or do you think there's still a lot more that can be done? I'm
hoping, and I believe in that, there is like a lot to come. In which way, I don't know. It's risky, but now we had Deadpool, we had Logan, we have Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm just standing in perspective from Marvel standpoint, because I'm a big fan of DC, but I'm not a big fan of DC movies just because I don't like them. I love the characters, but it's not something that So we'll see what's going to happen. There are like so many things coming, and like lots of characters that we haven't seen or they were not that popular are becoming bigger and bigger. For example, like Guardians of the Galaxy or Iron Man, we're not like the top 5, maybe not even top 20 of the characters that we loved, but they brought this movie sensation and everything else. Now Deadpool comes like, underdog and kills the Marvel Universe in a positive way. So I'm just hoping that we will find like clever and amazing new stories, new characters, and that we will push it like in a positive way.
Will we ever see a Colossus and Negasonic spin-off?
Well, that would be cool. That would be cool. I'm just praying that people will still love it. Like I didn't expect the Colossus going to get so loved by fans. I knew that it's a great character, but like the love that I'm like receiving from people and from fans, like it's beautiful. So I just hope that we'll see a lot of Colossus in the future, and I think we will.
I think the question that fans had when they knew they were getting a second Deadpool film was what was going to be the same, what was going to be different, just in terms of overall tone. Was it going to be more action? Was it going to be darker? Was it going to be more with a comedy? Just in those, I know you can't talk about specifics, but in terms of what people can overall expect from the sequel.
But just as you have like 2 more like huge characters, as Cable and Domino, is an answer, because that's, Deadpool is growing and it's making the X-Force franchise bigger and bigger. So it's more like introducing these guys for like their own franchise. So Deadpool 2 is going to be much bigger in many ways, and it's going to be like full of anthology scenes and amazing cast and brilliant Ryan Reynolds, and he's bringing Deadpool to definitely like another level, which is really hard to explain by words. But when you see the sequel, you will know what I was talking about, because that guy's unstoppable, and he's so into that role that he almost is like Wade Wilson when you talk with him. It's unbelievable how do you say that? Like, I'm still jet lagged. I apologize. He's so into this role, like that he's always creating. Like when you see him like walking around after the set, or he's just like trying some new lines, some new ideas, and it's beautiful to see people so much in love with the character. That's really rare nowadays.
Do you feel like, as common as like sequels will do things bigger and better and bigger? Like sometimes it escapes to what originally people loved and it goes too far. With the sequel, I know you can't talk about it, but have you decided like let's not make it too big and just try to keep it still?
Well, it still has like the Deadpool soul. Of course, that was like the first Deadpool. Nobody expected. 50% of the people didn't know, who Deadpool is. So there was that factor, which definitely, was working for the movie. Now everybody knows what is Deadpool. So everybody has their own expectation what's going to happen. But I think that nobody will be. I'm sure that nobody will be disappointed. There is no chance. So. Of course, I can expect whatever, but the thing is, whatever happens and what will happen in the movie will be something that you cannot be disappointed. It's not like a regular sequel; it's a Deadpool sequel. That's the point. It's a sequel of Deadpool, so you can expect everything.
Before you go and get back to fans today, have you got a message to Deadpool fans watching this all around the world?
Yes, thank you so much. Colossus is thanking you for everything. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Don't forget that. And thank you for making Deadpool franchise such an amazing franchise. And every second is worth waiting for the sequel because you're gonna love it and you're gonna geek out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.